This is crazy.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Owen. Well, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We have to start with the Boston Celtics because they're our dessert, and in these difficult times in life, eat dessert first, boys, and
Mhm.
plentiful. Maybe make it your main course. Celtics are just such a fun team, incredible personalities. But what happened last night? Could have never guessed. The Celtics have never had two players in a game score 40 plus points. And if you had, can you imagine what odds you would have gotten? And we always start with Russell. Can you imagine what odds you would have gotten if you were to bet that Derek White and Peyton Pritchard would score over 40 points for the first time in the history of the Boston
I mean,
Celtics in one game?
it had to be, would have to be, it's got to be dozens to one at a minimum, even if you just took this current team, much less the history of the Celtics, right?
Yeah, just to have Derek White or Pritchard score 40 points in one game.
Just
Hmm.
one of them. Just
Extraordinary.
one.
One
Yeah, once
game.
a
It
year.
was both of them it was their career high by far.
Yeah.
Not even close.
And first
Um,
time in Celtics history.
Yeah.
yeah. Are we a novel in some I'm not are we a novelty act in some level, Russ, with the 3 pointers?
Yeah, I mean, we've taken nearly 50 a game, and you win by them, and every once in a while you're going to lose by them, right? You're just going to have a night where it's just variance, and you're going to shoot badly, and but their bet is, and it played out last year in a 7 game series. You throw that many up, chances are you're going to win your 4 games, and
Yeah.
it's not even going to take you seven.
Yeah, the bell curve's on your side.
It's on your side. Yeah.
So, Timmy, have they changed basketball at the present, and making it a 3 point game, and basically the numbers say if you're not taking X amount of 3 point shots, you're not winning the game.
It almost thinks like she's like they've run it through the supercomputer a million times and came out with this is what the computer says to do. So we're gonna do it. Almost like, like baseball has become a kind of geek-driven computer analytics. Seems like that's come to basketball now.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
do
look,
the
it's
math and
not all that because what the Celtics are trying to do is, just score very economically, 3 pointers and layups. They don't want any of
Hmm.
the mid
That's right,
range,
Joe.
I think they
as
say
tough as a three, twos
yeah,
that
the
you only
odds
get two
between the
points on.
odds, the percentages between twos and threes
Hmm.
is not far enough to warrant taking the two. If you're going to take a two, take a three. If you're
Yep.
if you're more than 15 feet out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, step back.
So, Joe,
Yeah.
I asked the question: is out of all the six players on the first six players on the team, does Jaylen Brown have the game that least adaptable to the way the Celtics play, where he takes those mid-range uh, 2 point shots a
Well,
lot?
I think he's adapting to the team. I mean, I think he's sitting there saying, "Hey, his 3 point shooting hasn't been as good this year, but he's also bigger. He can get to the hoop, and somebody's got to get the ball to the hoop, right?" And so, and he's been pretty since the All-Star break. He's been pretty efficient at those twos. So somebody has to do it.
You know what I love about Brown is we can go like 0 for 10 on threes, and the other team's making a run back at us. And we need someone to like break that spell or something. And Brown seems to be the guy who steps up, and whether he does it through, driving to the basket or taking a 6 footer or something like that, gets that hoop to kind of break the misspell. He does it quite a bit. At
Well, he
least it seems
backs the
like he does
defense
it.
off, is what he's doing, is backing the defense down away from the 3 point line when he continually drives and probes the defense. He makes them take a step back. That makes it easier, gives you a little more spacing for the shooters. That's his real value as the wing.
It
So
seems like
how we know
when the going gets tough, Jaylen Brown gets going.
Yes, he
That's
does.
what it seems
I
like.
agree.
absolutely defensively too, but we know how the Celtics uh, win. But how do they lose? Is it just they just don't shoot well that night?
Yeah. Well, I think
Turnovers.
Yeah,
they just they
and
just
turnovers.
they're
Yeah.
just missing every. We've seen it happen. You know,
We have the lowest turnover rate in the NBA, I believe, or close to it. And so when we do turn it over, we tend to lose. It's just shooting variance. I mean, the vast majority, we've lost a couple, 2 or 3 games this year where we've shot 40% from three. One was last week.
Yeah.
It almost never happens. It just
We
we just
can't
don't shoot
leak.
well.
seems like out there whenever it happens, though.
Sometimes we can leak on the defensive rebounding a little
Sure.
bit at
Yeah.
times, and that I don't. Maybe that's fatigue, maybe that's laziness. But what I think what's filled that gap in the last year or two has been Jason Tatum's desire to play both ends the way he's in an incredible way and
Mhm.
rebound
Yeah.
because
He plays hard every night. He puts stats up in every category. It's really great. We're lucky. We were texting this the other day. You know, we're lucky to be watching this guy at the top of his game. He plays all the time. It takes a lot to get him to sit out, and he plays his ass off every night.
Paul
I
Pierce.
credit Missoula a lot for the transition that he's had in the last 2 years from just an offensive player and
Mhm.
just an ISO player to a real all-around game. He's really had Jason Tatum to blossom into the
Yeah.
tremendous player he is now.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, he's definitely he's bought in.
You
Pierce
know,
had made a good
hold on one
comment.
second. Do you think Tatum's been talking about Bird lately? You know what I mean? He's been kind of bringing up. Do you think he looked back to Bird's years and saw that Bird didn't always have to get a ton of points to control a game?
Yeah,
Because it almost seems like he's kind of going Larry Birdish now. You know, he doesn't need to have 34 points. He's he understands that he can help the team not just by scoring, but doing a lot of other things too.
yeah. I think he realizes the biggest fu to everybody is winning championships. And
Yeah.
the numbers, they're not going to love Jason Tatum for some reason. And Pierce says it's because everybody in the basketball world hates the Celtics. So you just got to get over it. They hate them, but the championships are the biggest fu, right, Russell?
Yeah, I mean, you can never take those away. And I think he just realized that, look, remember the whole narrative last year about the playoffs was what's wrong with Tatum. And really the only thing what was wrong with Tatum is he wasn't shooting it well, but he was doing literally everything else. He was playing point guard, drawing double and triple teams, passing it off to guys, rebounding, playing defense, and helping them win a championship.
Yeah, right,
I
exactly.
mean, isn't that the point of this whole thing?
Yep.
How
And he
many
has
guys,
Steph.
we've seen a million guys come through the NBA that average 30 a game that never won a championship.
Of course,
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. Happens all the time.
Mellow.
Maravich, Barkley.
Maravich, Bark, you know,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, there's been a lot of guys. Look, we talked about at the end of last season, obviously, Brown's the MVP of the finals. So it seemed to have tightened up the Brown Tatum comparison as far as who's won 1A. But all of a sudden, this regular season, it seems the gap is widened
Oh
in
yeah.
Tatum's
Yeah.
favor.
I'll tell you one thing: the
I
game
agree.
last night, Brown still does not have a good handle. I mean, that ball, whenever he took it into a crowd, everyone in the place was praying he didn't lose it. He still needs to tighten that handle up a bit.
But it's improved, I mean, from 2 years
Didn't
ago.
Well,
appear
really,
last
Especially the
night like
left.
that.
Especially the
well,
left.
I think, Timmy, the point is the other part of that point is don't take it into a crowd. And last night there was really no one, without Tatum and Porzingis and Holiday, he just kept forcing it into the crowd. And I saw the same thing. He'd get stripped every
But
time
you
he took
get
it
a
into
little
the lane.
nervous when you see him start, dribbling like for more than 5 or 7 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the turnover.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
know the Celtics don't want them to dribble at all if possible. Everyone passes the ball and no one puts the ball on the floor is the least gives you the least amount of turnovers.
I think that's when they're at their best, Joe, is when
Yeah.
they're really moving the ball. That's
How
why I get worried at the end of quarters, when time's running down. They stop moving the ball and they go to kind of ISO.
Put
what
Pritchard in.
how do
Right.
they lose 4 out of 7 games? Are they capable of losing 4 out of 7 games in a series?
Sure.
Yeah.
They could lose to Cleveland. Cleveland's a really good team. I mean,
Or OKC. Yeah.
Cleveland's lost 10 games this year.
Yeah.
Like 10. It's March.
Yeah.
They're like 50, 51 and 10. They're really good. They could lose to Cleveland for sure.
Yeah. What?
We're not the only talented team in the NBA.
No way.
There is
No
talent.
way.
But I would
Even
argue.
Yep.
the team last night had some good players. You know what I mean? In there.
I would argue if we're talking about Cleveland, OKC, we know you gotta jump to those levels. You gotta go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then you probably have to lose in the finals. We saw that last year. Uh, just the experience the Celtics had paid off in the playoffs. Are the Cavaliers
Right.
ready to?
Although,
We'll probably be in a
well,
different bracket than Cleveland, though.
Almost feels like we're going
well,
back
we
to the
will be
80s
in.
kind of where you have to earn your way up to the championship, you know?
Yeah, but you know, also the other big thing is tell me who's going to be healthy. Are we going to have healthy KP, healthy? Are we going to have our
Absolutely.
top seven guys healthy?
Who's
Top eight
healthy?
guys?
Who's healthy?
Look at those
And
lineups tonight. That makes a preseason game look like a
it
standout.
does.
I
That's
had
But
no.
all
this,
four
I was,
starters for the Celtics gone, and I think 5 starters are all gone for the Sixers.
I was at
yeah,
the game, and I had no issue with Tatum being out last night. None.
no,
Zero.
yeah,
All
same
Never
here.
you
should.
know what I mean? I would put Porzingis in an ice bath until the playoffs.
I know. Right?
And he'll still hurt himself in the first game.
Celtics
But
starters
what is he
tonight.
got the same illness as Abreu or something?
Yeah, it's
He's
pretty
missed
bad.
5 games now
Yeah,
with an illness.
The
Hey, you know
Celtics
who
starters
was
are.
good last night was Jordan Wall. Jordan Walsh, is that his name?
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, ball kid.
He looked pretty good.
yeah.
hmm
He can be inconsistent.
He's a worker. I'll give
He's a
him
dog
that.
on defense, I'll tell you that. He had some nice steals and some
He's
nice
long,
play.
right? He's
It was one
long.
he made a steal and then ended up getting the hoop on it later on in the series. And I liked him getting some time out there. I think there might be something there with him.
He's got to learn to shoot the ball,
See how
though.
long his arms are, Timmy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Celtics starters tonight.
He's an odd-looking fella, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Celtics starters tonight: Tatum, White, Kata, Cornette, and Peterson. What's his name? Drew Peterson. What's his name? Is that
Yeah, Drew Peterson.
Drew
Starting?
Peterson? I thought Drew Peterson didn't wasn't that the same guy who like killed his wife or something?
No,
Scott Peterson.
and you're probably going to get sued for libel tomorrow morning. So
Scott Peterson.
lawyer up.
Get my boy,
Yeah, they
get my
can't.
boy-
Even Hauser is out. They
I
can't even
said
put Hauser.
I'll get you my man Turtle Boy's lawyer, Scotty.
I didn't say this particular guy killed his wife. I said, wasn't that the same name? What is that?
We're going to need to
Tim
get a
can get you
lawyer.
Karen Reed's lawyers.
Fly him in. We'll get some experts for you,
I
Scotty.
You're
just
supposed to
said this guy
say
was-
evidently.
I was following that crap
Allegedly.
all day today.
All right, let's keep going before I have to hire a lawyer.
We may have to switch teams here.
Who would think it's not me that needs the lawyer? It's Scotty.
Yeah,
Oh,
If they
my
were taking odds, I know I'd be the winner on that.
All right, boys, we're going to go to the Boston Red Sox. And it's just, oh my God, the love that the Red Sox are getting.
Scotty, you might be. I'm like, where do you guys find the time to watch all these I have like barely enough time. My mother calls me 8 times a day. I got customers to deal with all day, and you guys are sending me. Look at this prospect. Where do you find the time in your
Oh my
life
God.
to follow
Timmy,
these guys?
Timmy, you just have to make the time. Come on, we're too old to have to worry
It's
about
not even
the Red
baseball season yet. We're still focusing on the stinky Bruins and the Celtics. You know what?
Well, I
We got to bring up the
all
Bruins at some point tonight, boys. We have to.
right. Well, yeah, exactly. But the Red Sox, look, the prospects are deep, and we found out already when you have this huge, assets, you can trade them to get a number one starter. And that's exactly what a lot of these prospects mean ultimately, right? Guys you can pawn off to get quality major league players. And the Red Sox are doing it.
But you'll typically get them. They're going to trade you if those pitchers are becoming free agents soon, right? Typically.
Well, Crochet, I think Crochet's gone under the radar, and nobody seems to talk about that the Red Sox acquired a number one starter.
But getting back to trading prospects for pitchers, if someone's going to trade you a front of the lineup pitcher, that contract's typically going to be expiring like the next year, right?
Well, Tom, it all
Well, they got
depends.
Crochet for 2 years guaranteed.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Then will the Red Sox pony up the dough though to keep these guys if they do trade for
Well, I think they're in negotiations to try to.
Red Sox. There's Russell. There's no way the Red Sox are letting Crochet go, right? I mean, there's no way.
No, I mean, no, the Red Sox have no intention of letting Crochet go. But if Crochet gets to the middle part of this year, he's got 12 wins, and he's looking like he's gonna lead the league in strikeouts.
He's going to free
Is
agency.
is he gonna sign? Like,
Scott Boras is whispering in his ear. You
No, no,
know,
no, no, no. Well, silly. Still has another year left to play. I
no,
mean,
I understand that, Scotty, but like that's my point. I don't.
Yeah.
If you're Crochet, is it really in your best interest to sign
And
before at least next off season
and Crochet's going to get like $20 million anyways
for
No,
in arbitration. Yeah.
so in 2 years, right now, what are the great guys are getting 60 million a year right now?
70.
No, not the pitchers. No,
Not the
no, no.
pitchers,
The
no.
pitchers aren't getting that. Yeah.
40.
40?
Yeah, 30,
Crochet
40.
would
Right,
get
Yeah.
in 2
40.
years, that's probably if it's 40 now in 2 years, that's got to be 55.
Could be.
I
Could
know,
be.
but again, this guy has a history of his injury problems. He's only pitched 100 plus innings one time. He's only going to sign this contract because he's going to receive life-changing money with the idea that even if he gets injured, he's still going to get paid.
He's going to get life-changing money anyways, though, Scott. You're not thinking of that. He's going to get 20 million plus for these next 2 years, each one of them.
He can get generation changing.
Yes, he can if he and then in that third year he can be a free agent. It's to the highest bidder.
10
Well, I
years for
assume-
$800 million or something like that. And in 3 years, I bet that's what they're throwing around.
Because he'll only be what 27 and a free agent as a left-handed stud pitcher. I think he
But
could demand a pretty good market.
All your points are definitely right on, but I can't believe, guys, that they made this trade and got rid of all these top
But it-
prospects.
Yeah.
Promise that they're not going to.
Scotty, I completely agree, but it takes two to do a deal.
Yes.
And this guy's represented by Scott Boras. When has Boras ever given a team
I thought
a
he had
deal?
another agent. He's got
He's
Boris.
represented by Boris.
I don't know.
Maybe he's not.
I
Maybe
said
he's not
Boris.
Boris.
I just threw Boris's name. I don't
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think he is because his
Yeah.
agent seemed like a dumbbell last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, guy. I don't know, Scotty. I would love it if he signed. I just don't see. I don't see like that. It's really truly in his best interests if he gets off to a good start this year to sign during the year. I think earliest he'll sign is next off season.
Well, obviously, like Joe said, that you said they're negotiating. We'll start with Joe. Joe, what's going to take, with taking the count is 2 years, what's going to take for, say, a 4 to 5 year extension? How much per year for a guy like that to sign?
40 a year.
Wow. Okay. Russell.
Well, you're going to have to because he's going to get the 40 waiting for free agency anyways.
Well, you want to get some level of a discount right now, Joe, if you're going to give him guaranteed money. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, but you're not. I mean, he's still going to be making great money the next 2 years.
Okay, here's the list. Let's take Ohtani off the list. So the next ones are Zach Wheeler at 42 million a year, Jacob deGrom at 37, Blake Snell at 36.
How many years are those contracts, Russ? We gotta.
I mean, they're got to be like 5,
and
6
those
years. I don't have
guys
the
are
years.
quite a
but-
bit older too.
so I
gonna
think you're talking about 40 probably.
Yes.
8 years, $40 million, probably.
Extension.
Well, yeah. I don't know. No, they'll start paying him. I mean, if you're him, you're only going to do that if they buy back these low-priced years, right?
He's only making 3.8 this year.
Crochet?
But now he's arbitration eligible, so he will get like 20.
No, I think those numbers are already in, Joe. There's no more arbitration. That's all done for the year.
No, but they can
but
tear up
next
his
year,
contract.
Well,
They could
like you
give him a
said,
big
that
bonus.
right, they would get credit for that, right? If they were to do that, yeah, absolutely. So you want this guy for 7 years. So if you gave him 7 at 37, that probably does it.
Yeah, I don't think he's signing it. I think he's going to wait it out at least this year. I would.
Yeah, he can only build his market. What did he finish third
Mhm.
or fourth last year in the Cy Young? Not too shabby. If he can get up to one or two,
If he goes out and pitches 200 innings and leads the league in strikeouts at 26 years old,
And these Tommy John surgeries usually hang pretty good too, right? I
Well,
mean,
listen,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, they're going to have to.
it makes your arm stronger usually, Tim.
yeah.
It's going to cost them a hell of a lot more next off season to ink him, but obviously they have control of him.
So we saw them open the purse a little bit this year, right? But that's the first inkling of them spending.
Yeah, but they said they're talking to him.
Let's hope so. Let's
I
hope so.
mean, but I think you're right. I mean, from what I mean, I've read a lot like 28, 29 million. That I don't think that's going to get that done.
Well, I
Why
think your
would he
original
sign? Why
point
would he
is
sign?
valid there, where they've already spent a lot for him. So you don't want a sunk cost. You may as well spend.
Right, Russell? You want this is solidifies
He's
your
not. Why? If you're Garrett Crochet and you have a good year this year, he's not signing for less than Zach Wheeler. He's 5 years
Yeah.
younger than Zach Wheeler.
yeah, right,
Like,
exactly.
and Zach Wheeler's making 40 million a year. Like, he's not signing for less than 40 million a year.
I
We can
agree.
get our hopes up, but like, why wouldn't you sign a contract for at least $300 million right now if you were him?
Yeah, right,
And
exactly.
he does fit the parameters of who they would give a big money contract. He's young. He's not over 30. I know they don't like to give the guys over 30 money, but he does not fit that. What's he, 25 right now? Got to be
25.
26,
Yeah.
26 this year or something?
So I think
He's going
yeah,
to be 26 this year.
I think you're right. An 8 year, 40 a year contract, and then you get this guy in his prime, uh, and we're all set.
In 4 years, that would look like a bargain, Scotty.
There's no question. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if he's been one of the top five pitchers in
Red
baseball.
Sox have to start
He's a
seeing
big
that.
kid. He looks like he'll be a horse, don't you think?
The Red Sox have to start seeing
Yeah.
that. I know it looks expensive today. It's like being in the housing market, you know? We all looked at houses back when $500,000 was a lot of money, and we said, "Oh my God, 500,000!" And then 4 years later, that same house was 850,000.
Yeah.
The Red Sox have to realize that if it say it's 35 million, it seems like a fortune right now, but in 3 years, that's going to be like the low end, you know.
Yeah. Well, look, they paid Bregman 40 million, so they're now they understand that, and there aren't too many teams in Major League Baseball who's ever paid anyone 40 million.
But 1 year, Scotty,
No, it's 3 year commitment.
free, but
He can opt out, Tim.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
a team option.
I don't think he's opting out. I just don't. What the
Funny
question?
money out there.
I think it's pretty established now that Kristen Campbell is not starting with the team.
Yeah,
he has
he's going to
struggled.
go back down.
He has struggled in spring training games, and he's not ready to play for the big team.
Hasn't earned it.
Yeah.
No. They have not played. They haven't spoken 1 second or played Alex Bregman at second base one bit. Nobody.
They don't intend to
mentioned
play
it.
him there.
And they said, Cora said yesterday, it's between Campbell, Grissom, and
Hamilton.
for second base. So
Well, I mean, is anyone else concerned that Rafi Devers went into the offseason with one bad shoulder, and he's now 3 weeks into training camp or a month into training camp, and he has two bad shoulders still? And we're like however many months since the end of last season. What's going on?
yeah. I just think this is a guy who doesn't do anything in the offseason at all except eat.
Shoulders are like a chronic issue too. I have two bad shoulders. They just don't go away. Like it's typically tendonitis, and that is a painful thing to have in your shoulder.
I
bet
know, but he should have been rehabbing. I mean, he's got millions of dollars to spend on rehab.
Shoulders don't rehab real easy, Scotty. You have the operation, then it's like an 8 month before you're back.
Why didn't he have an operation? Like, what are we doing here? Why is this guy not ready to play baseball in this spring? Why is it?
And he reported out of shape. Even the Boston sports writers will tell you that. And then you know how It's all they throw bouquets at the Red Sox all day long.
Cora said it too, Joe.
Yeah.
Cora said he's not in shape. He wasn't ready. He wasn't baseball ready to come in.
How can you be that age and you're a professional athlete and you can't even keep yourself in shape?
What are we going to do? We all agreed that we wanted him to be signed, re-signed, and extended.
Yep.
And now, does he have? Could we trade him?
I mean, if he gets healthy and if he gets healthy, put some numbers up. There's plenty of teams that want, that need that kind of a hitter. Even on a down year, he's still a really good hitter. So,
I don't, I
but
don't
he has
mind
to
a
be
Pencil
fat,
him
healthy.
in for
I don't mind a
35 and
fat
100
DH.
every year.
I don't mind a fat
Yeah.
DH. I don't want a fat third baseman though.
But he's not playing 30. He's a DH now, Timmy.
But that creates a log jam at that position too, because now you got two left-handed DHs. Him and Yoshi.
They'll eat Moss's contract. I mean,
Would
they
you
don't
have
care about
traded? This is work. Stay with me here. Would you have traded Devers for Crochet straight up?
Sure, probably. I don't know.
So
But I mean,
if you could recoup what you considered the same haul that you gave away for Crochet prospect wise to get rid of Devers, would you do that right now?
I don't know. But the prospects weren't that great. We just don't know about what Montgomery is. The rest
I
of
want
them
I
bag of
want to
balls.
trade Devers for Vlad Guerrero. I mean, that's
Oh
the
yeah,
obvious trade.
Oh my God.
You think that's
I'll throw cases in there too.
because
Yeah, I
Toronto
mean,
doesn't
trade him.
mind spending money. I think they're
Right.
second to the Dodgers in spending.
Oh,
Guerrero is going to get a lot more money per year than Rafi makes,
Yeah,
right?
he's getting Soto money.
So Rafi is like certain money. It's payroll security for Toronto. They know what they're getting. They don't have to pay him a dollar more. So I don't know. Trade him Rafi and whatever else you need in order to get Vlad. We're off to the races.
How far off Rafi's numbers and Devers? I mean,
Guerrero
Guerrero's numbers and Devers. I
are
mean, Devers,
better.
you got to give it to him. The guy can hit. You know.
Guerrero's numbers are better.
And he's
Vlad's
a
numbers are
right-handed
better, and
hitter
he's younger.
too. Yeah,
He's like 3 years younger.
he's
would Toronto
25.
do that? That's a great take. Hot take by Russell. Would
I don't know
Toronto
why
do
they
that?
wouldn't try it. I mean, why wouldn't you try to do it? If Toronto's convinced they're going to lose him, then they're gonna want to replace him.
I think Toronto would have taken Cassis straight up for him, knowing they couldn't sign him.
I really, really doubt that, Joe. If they would take Cassis straight up for Vlad Jr., then Vlad Jr. would be on this team right now.
Well,
Like,
Vlad hasn't re-signed it and told Toronto not going to re-sign with them. He's
Toronto
going to become a
fans
free agent.
might burn the city for that trade. You know.
Oh my God. Cases, no. I would throw Cases in with Devers, to be honest with you, to get that
now
done.
remember, Vlad is not signed beyond next year. So when you trade for him, you have to be very confident you're gonna sign him. So that does limit what Toronto can get back from him. So
He's
I
probably
think
gonna want like Soto money, right?
It could come to that.
could come in that general territory. But he's one of those guys that would be worth it.
Yeah.
Well, then, look, obviously, if you're acquiring Vlad, you're going to re-sign him.
You're gonna, yeah. So you'd have to probably have. I mean, in a way, you maybe you send Rafi and Casas, and you get Vlad and something back because that's a lot. Giving up two potentially 35
two
home run
major
guys,
league everyday major league players.
That's too much for Vlad.
But
Too much for Vlad.
I think that's
especially where he's a potential rental.
I think
That's right.
you can't make any of those big moves would you agree, until you sign Crochet? That's got to be the priority.
No. Why? No, they have money. Why are you worried about John Henry's money?
I'm not worried about the
Screw
money, but I'm
that.
like, get that
So we
done.
can't sign anybody for 2
And
years because we got to
No,
sign
I'm
Garrett
saying get that
Crochet?
done
And you
now.
got to do it now,
not gonna
Scotty.
get
You
it
got to
done
spend
now.
the money now because
Yes.
the next CBA is going to be like the NBA. It's going to stop this.
I know, that's why I want Crochet signed in the next week or
I
two.
know you want Crochet signed, but Crochet's probably not going to sign.
But everybody said he was going to. I don't understand that.
They all said it. They promised him.
And they did promise him. And then
Scotty's so nervous. Like he's literally not going to be able to sleep tonight, Timmy, thinking about Garrett Crochet not being
They
signed.
said they
And
were signing him.
if he's not signed by July 4th,
They
Scott will not
promised me.
sleep for
No,
2 months straight.
said they were signing him.
Jesus.
it's true. And then what are you going to trade Holiday in the same week for me?
Scotty's voice was
I
on
got
like 3 octave when it comes to signing Crochet. They gotta sign him. They gotta.
My voice gets a little high. I agree.
Oh,
my
man.
God. I'm so,
It's going to be
Hey,
rough.
we'd all be pleased if they signed him, Scott.
well, look, John Henry has established finally that and Sam Kennedy now can come out without Secret Service protection. They clearly this has gone very well for them. Would you agree, PR wise, the whole Bregman deal? And you would think they would want to continue that nice theme over there, right?
Well, and it's
You would
become
think.
a thing. They have signed the young players like Bayo and Rafaela.
Yeah, but this is totally
they
different.
want to do. Oh yeah, this is another tier, but they're in the business of signing those guys.
That's a great segue, Joe, to my next question. The whole Rafaela thing. I mean, what do we have in him? He obviously defensively, he's fantastic. But is he a ninth hitter always? I mean, what is he?
If he's can't get on base and he strikes out that much, it's going to be tough to be an everyday player day in and day out. I think if he doesn't make better contact with the ball, he's probably a super utility player.
If he walked more and struck out less,
Yeah,
he'd be fine. He hits
100%.
fine. He hits fine.
Yeah.
Is that his on base percentage suffers so terribly because of that high strike?
Yeah.
He can't lay off it.
And Timmy, we don't talk about it, but he's right-handed power. I know he's a
Yep.
small guy. Actually, he gained some weight
He's
over
teeny.
the offseason. He looks a lot bigger. But I mean, he's the right-handed power that you need in Fenway.
Yeah, but we're talking. He strikes out way too much, right?
He literally has the worst sense of the strike zone that I've ever
He's
seen.
bottom 1% in as far as his judgment on pitches. He swings at bad pitches.
I mean, that's a super important thing of being a high school baseball player.
Yeah.
Is knowing what to swing at and not swing at.
Yeah.
You get to
Because they're
the
not
big leagues, boy, you better have a feel for what's in the zone and what isn't.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to throw you strikes, right?
Why would you?
I mean,
Yeah.
Some
It's tough
guys
to-
you just know,
can't
like you
afford
look
it.
at Soto in the box, and he knows more than the umpire does most of the time. He can
Yeah.
get that feeling.
Okay, starting lineup will be what? Opening day. We'll start with Russell. Go around.
I mean, I think it'll be Bregman at third, Rafi at DH, probably Grissom at second if unless Campbell comes on late, and then you'll have Duran, um,
Wait, what about
Abreu.
Cassis? Do you think Cassis is fourth?
Cassis is first. Yeah, I mean, I think then we know it from there. I don't think
batting fourth. Batting fourth.
Oh no, he's just given the
lineup. Okay,
who's out in the
I'm just
field.
giving you the lineup. Yeah, just the defensive players. I don't know how they'll bat them,
Well,
but
LeBrey's
don't.
not going to start the season. He's not going to start the season.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Then you'll end up with one of
Anthony.
these guys in the outfield. I don't think that the kids are
Saying
coming up.
Bregman's not starting the season.
No,
Abreu.
He is.
Abreu.
Abreu.
He's going to. I think.
Abreu. Okay, I saw. I misread.
I think Anthony's your starting right fielder opening day.
I haven't heard one whiff of that.
Or maybe
so far,
it
Scotty.
depends on the pitcher. It could be Rob Refsnyder, if it's a lefty. Depends on who's pitching against
No, I
him.
know, but I'm saying I think Anthony's
I mean,
coming.
I only think you're going to bring Anthony up if you're going to name him. You're a starting outfielder for pretty much the year. You're not going to start yanking that guy up and down.
You don't think?
No, hell no. Go get him 200 at bats in Worcester.
Oh my God! So what are we going to see? Trace fucking Thompson all of a sudden playing the outfield?
Well, you'd have Rafaela and Duran and Ref Snyder, and they'll throw someone out there. Maybe Massa goes to left field for a few games.
God forbid.
That sound very encouraging, boys.
I know, but Abreu won't be out too long. I mean, he's already getting better. So
What is wrong with him? I don't understand.
he was sick. Like he ate the same food that KP did, evidently.
Yeah. That's a long time to have diarrhea, to have a gastrointestinal
Oh,
disease.
geez.
Weeks.
Is that right?
He
Oh,
must have lost 20, 30 pounds if you give it, it's like
didn't
that.
Grissom have the same thing last year?
Yeah, it's something similar. There must be something in the cafeteria there.
They're not going to Zaptics, I can tell you that. That's for sure. Right?
No holla French toast down.
Oh my God, that would cure freaking anything. All right, we got to go to the Patriots. And oh my God, the Messiah talk, and we're talking about early March. The Messiah talk is basically everything about the Patriots all the time. Um, Most people in the combine said that Messiah at some point is going to be the top quarterback in football.
Crickets.
I haven't
No, I
heard that
mean,
talk at all. Everyone's talking free agents.
No, but they were talking. Drake May is basically May and Vrabel is this Patriots have set themselves up by having a top quarterback and what people perceive as a top head coach. Has Kraft done something right with bringing in Vrabel?
yeah. I mean, it was the right move, clearly.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of it? Isn't perception a huge part of how you move forward in a professional sports team?
Well, he certainly helped keep the wolves from the door from the Patriots fan base by hiring Vrabel.
Yeah.
So,
But isn't the perception around the league that weren't they voted like the 30th best organization?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, obviously Rabel's improved that dramatically.
Well, no, that was with Vrabel.
Yeah, and well, they're building a new
Wasn't.
workout center and family.
Yeah, no. This is a different question, Tim. That was on the facilities and stuff. But
Yeah.
they asked all the general managers, the management people, what are the best organizations, and they finished like 30th or 31st.
Look, I mean, obviously it starts with Drake May, the quarterback. Free agency starts the 12th. In 6 days. Lots of talk about this kid Stanley if he gets there, offensive tackle. Assume that would be the priority, right?
Yeah, everyone's talking the Ravens kid. Well, he's not a kid. He's 31. He'll be 31 this year. So
Is Stanley from the Eagles or from the Ravens?
The
Ravens.
They're talking about from the Eagles too, right? An offensive lineman, I believe, right?
No, defensive lineman Williams.
Defensive lineman. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You'd like to see them make big splashes on both sides of the line, right? One
Oh, we
offense.
need help. We need so much help. At so many places. I mean,
you need someone to fill the gap, and then that allows you to draft the best players available, so you're getting some quality in there. I mean, Stanley's not considered a great left tackle. He's just another guy. He's an average player. He's not. Yeah, he's nothing great, but he's a good average, solid tackle.
But now these guys,
anything's an upgrade from where we're coming from.
Right, exactly. Until you could develop someone you draft in like the 3rd round or something, give them that buys you a couple of years to develop someone.
Russell, you got to pay $30 million, right? It's for
they have to. I mean, this franchise needs to overpay to get guys to come here, and if they don't, shame on them. That's what they got. They got money, So do what you need, and do not try to gaslight us again this year by saying, signing guys who've never played left tackle and calling them your left tackle again. Just stop with that. Would you just go sign left tackles, go draft right tackles?
Yeah.
But can we just do that just at a minimum?
How much input do we think that Bob Kraft has moving forward with Mike Vrabel?
Not much. Power the checkbook. He'll tell him how much he can spend.
Yeah.
But
that's it.
Like the Red Sox needed to make noise, and they did with Bregman. Patriots have to come out of this free agent period with a big name.
My question is, how much do the Patriots have in cap space?
130 million. And in reality, it's like 138.
Do we see them ending free agency spending all that money?
No,
but they have to spend a certain amount to get to the floor of the
Right.
salary cap. So they got to spend at least $100 million of that.
Okay,
130.
do you see them coming out on the cheap end of that, or going full bore and spending it all?
Cheap end of that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they're gonna
I
get
see
to
that
they
too.
got to get to the floor anyways.
You think Kraft still thinks he's like the smartest guy in the room? You know, like laughing at all the other owners, saying, "Look at all the money." I know
He
that's what
better
he
not
was doing
anymore. I
for
mean, if he
25
does,
years. He was laughing at the rest of the league, saying, I'm like in the bottom
He's
tenth of
laughing in last
the league,
place here if
and
that's
I'm
the
in the
case.
yeah.
AFC Championship game every year. You know what I mean?
I
You
mean,
know he
even
was. You know he was like rubbing it in, probably. You know
Yeah.
that. Look at how smart I am. You know.
But you can't spend your way out of this hole either. Just that can't be the only thing. You got to work a couple of angles to get the team
Yeah,
back.
but at least you'll spend up to what you can spend.
Okay, yeah, and I think they're going to have to.
Yeah.
are they going to make a trade for like a wide receiver like a DJ Metcalf or an AJ Brown? Is that the route they go for the top wide receiver?
It certainly feels like it could be. That might be where they get the best receiver who they can get because the other guys don't seem to be hitting the market, right? So it could be Metcalf, it could be Brown, it could be Ayuk. Um, my guess would be they'll trade for a receiver and they'll sign offensive linemen. To Joe's point, they'll be good offensive linemen, and they'll just
To
draft
get a guy like
everybody else.
Metcalf, what do you think draft capital takes to get a guy like Metcalf?
I don't know, probably fourth, third. I mean, he's got a
No,
big
I guess
contract. I think
they're
he's got
asking
one.
a first and a third.
Nobody's giving
First
him.
and a third.
No one's
Well,
giving him
no,
that.
He's gonna give
you
up
just
a
get
first round
creative.
draft pick.
We got the 4th pick. They have the 18th pick. Swap them and take the guy.
No, they're not going to do that either. They want that 4th pick. I think that
Well, why? Who's because
they want. No, they want.
you got. Well, they got to be ready to make a pick then. Hopefully, the 2
They're going to pick
quarterbacks go in
Hunter.
front.
They're going to pick Hunter. They want a big name. They
For
need
one
the big
thing,
name.
when you're
I don't
drafting
mind them
fourth,
taking Hunter.
you're getting a top tier guy for sure. Though you're going fourth.
You'll get that
fourth
gives
and
you 2
18.
first-round picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're paying high money for Metcalf.
Yeah, but they got plenty of money and they've got to spend it, Tim. That's the point.
Yeah, but
They
they
have
don't want
to
to do it
spend
that
it.
way. I think they want to get a fourth, a top talent at 4 and pay him short dough for a while.
That's right. I think they're taking Hunter. I think everything sets up.
I wouldn't mind them taking Hunter. That gives them some flexibility too. But you get one of the top.
I've never seen him play it down. That's how behind I am.
No, the kid's he's special. I mean, obviously he's a fantastic player, both sides of the ball.
People say
here's what
there's
I
only
want.
2 blue chippers in this draft: Carter and Hunter.
Here's what I want.
Carter's
Just-
banged up, right?
Don't draft guys who suck. Just like if nothing else happens,
Yeah.
and they pick like 8 guys, and none of them absolutely suck, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like
They
fourth
should
pick in
be
the
at
draft.
least able to play this year.
I want like
None of them could play.
a regular All Pro. You know what I mean? A guy who's a yearly All Pro with the 4th pick. That's what I want to come out of this with.
The odds are pretty poor that you'll get that, Tim.
Look, Hunter's a unique talent. I mean, he's potentially the Otani.
Yeah, I say just if he's there, take him. Don't look
Yeah.
back. Take literally the best player who's on
Yeah.
the board the entire draft.
You have a hole at every position except
Every
quarterback
position.
on that team.
This
Every
injury
position.
report from Carter could make him drop to 4th.
Well, no, it's because the Cam Ward and Sanders, they seem to be going up to. They'll be the top.
You know
3.
how the quarterbacks always.
They all, everyone falls in love at the combine with these quarterbacks. But Carter, Scotty, you were mentioning he's got some injury issues, right?
Oh yeah, shoulder and what else was he? Did he have a knee or something else? I stay away from Carter. Oh my God, like the plague. I don't want a guy coming out of college with 2 injuries.
And he's on the short side. He's 6'3". They like on those guys to bend like at 6'5", 6'6", anyways.
But they talk about him like he's the second coming, though. As
He's a tough, hard-nosed guy like Micah Parsons was. A tackling demon, and just a worker.
Look, let the Browns take him because we know if the Browns take him, it's going to be a complete fail. So that's perfect.
Well, Garrett wasn't a fail.
Well, Browns
except that they have to trade him.
usually they suck and they're drafting completely. I mean, the deals they've made, we would just be sick to this. Well, don't they have Deshaun Watson? Did they acquire him for all that load, right?
Oh yeah,
I
he
mean, they
just
just make
restructured
deals,
today, right? I think
crappy deals,
he
one
restructured his contract.
after another. So again, it's coming time to surprise cuts. Let's start with Russell. Surprise cut from the Patriots.
I
Are
still
you
say, I
talking
mean, we
about at
talked
this
about this a few
deadline?
weeks ago. I don't have the same. I mean, the Peppers kid, Jabril Peppers, somebody like that.
You don't see anyone else getting cut.
I
That's
mean, I do, but I don't. I mean, I don't think any of these guys. I mean, how many guys on this team are good enough that you would be surprised if they cut them?
that's
Literally, you
true.
can count on one hand, right?
Right. No, I know it's such a weak roster. You're right. I mean, there aren't. I mean, I don't know. I don't think any of these guys have trade value either. I don't think. I
Well,
mean,
because I haven't heard how Devon Godshaw has found a trading partner yet.
yet again, I don't know how that works because it has to be for a seventh round pick, right? I mean, it would. I mean, I don't understand how you can negotiate your own trade.
Well, they've told him he can go out and try to find a trade partner.
You
If he can, he
Mhm.
can.
you try to find somebody who would take.
His agent goes and talks to other teams that might need a
I don't
defensive
understand. Well, what's the
tackle.
GM's job? I don't understand why they making them with the player do that. Again, can
Well,
someone explain that to me? What is that?
it's very common in the
Does it
NFL.
ever happen? Does it?
Oh yeah, dozens and dozens of times it happens. But like you said, it ends up being for bad value, seventh round pick or something.
they're gonna cut. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Eventually, and that's why you don't get much because the teams will wait you out.
I think they're gonna cut a lot of these guys we're talking about. I think Bourne's gone. I think
My guy's born. My guy's born. I think he's gone.
yeah,
They're paying him a lot, right?
Yeah,
it did nothing. I think Stevenson's gone. I don't think
I
they.
don't think
What do you
so. They
get to
just paid him.
replace him? That's the other thing.
They owe him money. They owe
I
him
think,
money.
Big cap hit. I don't.
and I think he's got. I know he fumbled 7 times, but I think he's got some gas left in the tank.
That wasn't the problem last year, though, Tim. He just stopped playing. He quit.
The offensive line was fucking horrible.
But he was the worst blocker on the team last year. He was
He could run the
terrible.
ball. But who do we got that's better? That's the thing.
Exactly. That Gibson kid was okay,
Yeah,
but
it's
the other
all-
kid, that Hasty, was tiny.
we really just the
They
bottom
didn't-
of the barrel. I don't know how
They
we
don't
went
have
from-
any. They need running backs in the
I
worst
think
way.
I think Bourne's gone though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we not be the number one, get the number one pick of the draft? The worst team of all time. There's like 3 players that we want to keep. I mean, this is really
Rod Mayo's parting shot, and and no one can say he didn't give them an honest shot because he did put Joe Milton there. Your Messiah wasn't playing that game.
Joe Milton. I'm hearing you possibly can get a third round pick for him. Would you do it?
Mhm.
I kind of like the kid.
For a third round pick, you do that every damn day.
Well, I've heard him included like in a deal, for
Metcalf.
either Higgins or or Metcalf, because look at Seattle. They, that what's
Smith, right?
Yeah, he's good, but maybe a kid with potential they'd want.
Milton. I mean, I don't know what his ceiling is, man, but what an arm on the kid.
He's never going to play. I mean, look, I wouldn't trade Milton for a fifth pick, and I probably wouldn't trade him for a fourth. But if somebody said, "I'll give you a third round pick for a guy we drafted last year in the seventh,"
Top of the third.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's just he's not going to play enough to get that much better.
I don't know. You know what?
Right.
He was incredibly accurate.
I'm not putting Milton in the same crappy category as you guys. I think this guy. I don't know, man.
I don't think it's a crappy
something,
category at all, but like he's not proven anything to me.
I
I
don't
mean, he
know.
had one good game.
He's very big. He's elusive. He probably has the strongest arm in the NFL. I mean, that guy just flicks his wrist and the ball just
Well, let him compete for the starting job then. I think he could win
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Wasn't he incredibly
Couldn't even look
accurate
at
in
me
that
when you
game? What
said
was he
that.
like 10 for 12? He was incredible in that
Oh,
game.
for God's sakes, against
Oh, I know Buffalo was kind of trying to lose. They weren't
Kinda?
trying to
I
win.
You
mean,
weren't even just kind of.
crazier things have happened. Crazier things have
But
happened.
look, you can get a third round. Look, how you build a team in this disarray like the Patriots, get 3 third-round picks. Like if they traded Milton right now, they'd have their own third-round pick, they'd have the Judon pick, and they'd have the Milton pick. That's how you start building a
You
team.
get starters out of the third round
Yeah,
too.
you get some real quality kid players who can
Well,
contribute.
they should, with a team this bad, the first, second, and third and fourth rounders should all be starting. They should all be able to beat out the crap that's out there now.
You know,
And that's what we
I
saw
don't know
last year.
how that last year that happened
I'm
where
going to say,
these guys couldn't beat out anyone.
they have to hit in this draft. They have to.
Well,
Oh
they
my
have to
God,
play him
absolutely.
anyways.
Absolutely. Or Drake May will be looking to get traded. And Messiah is going nowhere.
Well, he can't get. They got him for 5 years if they want.
I know, but we need him here. We need him to live in Brookline, maybe near me, and him and I can go for walks.
And we need them upright. We need them upright.
All right, we're going to talk about the
Don't
Bruins.
show him where Tim hides the cigar at Fenway Park when you get there.
Yeah, we're going to go the Bruins finally, and well, look, they traded Frederick. We always start with Timmy and the Bruins. The Trent Frederick deal, you happy with?
Yeah. Frederick, I love the guy. He doesn't have that scoring touch. You know what I mean? You know, I read an extremely troubling article in The Athletic today, and they kind of went through where the Bruins stand. They're in deep shit, boys.
Yeah.
Deep
Mhm.
shit. They really have nobody on the radar coming up through the system at all. Nobody.
So how is Sweeney and Neely
this
still
kid
have a
that they
job?
drafted, their first round draft pick from BC. I know he's young. They wanted him to do a year in the USHL before he went to BC. Has 0 goals. Here's a first round. You know, usually if you're playing at BC, they have a slew of first round draft picks. And these kids are tearing it up. BUBC. Anyone that has first round next to their name is like killing it in the NHL, right? I mean, killing it. And this kid doesn't have a goal. That's
Holy
tough.
jeez. How did Sweeney and Neely keep their jobs?
I don't know if
The Jacobs really don't give a rat's
he
ass.
sold out the farm a couple of years ago when we thought we were going to win it. I mean, I think that's what they're hiding behind. But we are in the depths, boys, right now, and it's not going to get any better next year. And I just re-upped my season tickets.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
next year looks a lot bleaker, Tim.
Oh,
And they're
doesn't
losing
ever.
tonight, by the way.
Russell, does
Oh.
Marchand get traded?
No, he's hurt. I mean, I wouldn't trade for him. I think that
Yeah.
ship has sailed. They could have, should have probably, but
This
I don't
year,
think they
yeah.
will.
The reports today were that the Bruins are listening, but they're listening to trade talks for Marchand, but they were also trying to negotiate next year's 1-year deal.
I mean,
Hearing
if
stuff
anybody want him, they want him for the playoffs this year, right? And that's not happening. I mean,
I'm hearing that.
he went down pretty ugly in that hit. You know, I don't know what happened.
So one of my sources said that Colorado wants to get both Crosby and Marchand for the playoff run.
Oh, wow.
That's what they're.
Marshall going to be healthy for the playoffs? I thought that was kind of a tough injury he took.
Okay, well, of course, in hockey, they never tell you it's either upper body or lower body injury.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if it's not that bad, I don't blame because Marchand's a difference maker. You know, I mean, the only freaking people on the score sheet every night are him and Pasternak. They're like the only two that get any goals for the Bruins.
But if
And
you
supposedly
remember,
they don't get along. That's the problem.
remember we acquired what, Recchi, and we had to wait a month, right? Am I right about that? That we have remember actually the Red Sox with Schwarber, we acquired him at the deadline and we had to wait a month. So when you're talking about March right now, and if you thought Marchand would be back in April 1st, why wouldn't you pull the trigger?
I mean, I don't know what his health is, but if he's, you know, if this isn't a serious injury, and I had a team that was trying to like make a run for it, Marchand to me would be a gigantic addition. The guy's one of the
I agree.
best penalty kills in the league.
Yeah.
he makes things happen out there.
I heard Toronto wants him, and they're right at the cap, so all they have to give is draft picks.
But there you go. I mean, they got a
But
second.
yeah, they've got to revamp. Next year is going to be worse than this year, I think.
But this is my point.
Marchand's a big addition to any team in a cup hunt right now.
But how can you trust Sweeney and Neely to draft any more players based on what you just said to me?
They got the big disease, and I was with them. I remember the opening night. I looked at that lineup and I saw 6'3", 6'4", 6'3". I thought they were going to be the old fighting Bruins, but no one plays
Too
like
slow.
that.
They're so
Defense,
plodding and slow.
I bring that
you
number
know?
91 up all the time. My
Zadorov. Oh,
God, is he bad? Oh, so bad.
Do they make a lot of moves in the next 24 hours, guys?
There's probably only two or three guys, right?
Yeah.
We're in the mix, and it's hard to do that. So, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be a complete sell-off. I think they should, but
Yeah,
Carlo could be. I mean,
Yeah.
the one I've heard about is Carlo.
yeah.
She
To
should be able to
Edmonton.
get something for him.
Yeah, I heard Carlo to Edmonton for a second-round pick.
Do it.
that would be a bottom of the second round because they're
Yeah, right.
Edmonton,
That's just
best
about a
record.
third round pick.
Well, the reason this was a good deal with Frederick is that the second-round pick is St. Louis's,
Yeah, it's not Edmonton's.
not Edmonton. So that'd be the top. Right now, the Bruins are 9th pick in the draft. So the Bruins actually have a 6% chance of getting the number 1 pick in the draft right now. Just so you know, they'll be in the lottery. So is there a top guy that everybody's isn't the guy from BC the top guy?
BC, yeah.
But is he like upper tier?
No, I don't think he's like an Eichel or a McDavid or
So there's no big star in this draft.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Look,
I
it's
mean,
good.
I think the guys on BC have already been drafted. They're big stars.
It's gonna be lean
And-
years for the
And the drafting is look at Frederick was the number 1 draft pick like 7-8 years ago. Now he's gone.
Well, the Bruins now are in the abyss, right? I mean,
Charlie Coyle for trade bait.
would anyone take him?
He looks
Somebody needs
Coyle looks like a hockey player. He just isn't.
he just couldn't put the puck in the ocean.
He needs to play with us.
Somebody who needs a
couple
solid
scores.
third line center. Maybe somebody who's really hurt in that department. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, all right, boys. Well, that's our show for tonight. I want to thank the fellas. Please check
Wait,
us
no PP talk, Scotty.
out. Peyton Pritchard. We talked about him.
He said that so questioningly.
We just flew right over that, Scotty.
But I just want to mention, I love Peyton Pritchard. I don't know, just because I had some issues with him prior, but that doesn't mean I don't love him. I mean, he's a fantastic player.
Wait.
You peed all over him for a year and a half.
His
But
trade
okay.
value has never been higher.
No, I didn't
PP
even say
stands
that.
for piss poor.
That was you. You said that. That's your words. But look, the whole Podol thing, Joe agreed with me today that he would take Pritchard for Podol.
Hurdle.
Next
Hurdle.
year, I'm fine with it because we're not going to have Al or Cornette, and I think Pirtle is much more versatile than you give him credit for, Russ.
Do you? Well, he can't. I mean, he can't shoot. And to Timmy's point, he shoots 55% from the foul line, so you can't play him in the last 3 minutes of a game. So okay, but do you have some sort of direct connection with Al Horford where he's told you he's going to retire because he's shown no signs of it?
Well, at some point.
No, he's only playing
Some
like
point,
every
but-
10th game this year, really.
No, come on, Joe. He's
Come
not
on.
No, he's
Joe,
playing. He's playing
please.
most of the games, but he's only playing well in like every 10th game.
Scotty, for a team that's built around 3-pointers, I don't think that guy. I looked. I don't think he's taken a 3-point shot in his life.
No, he hasn't taken it this year. He hasn't taken
Not
one.
one. Not
Yeah,
one all
this
year.
that's fine.
It's
Yeah,
the
this
same
is just more Peyton Pritchard hate, Timmy. It's
This is
okay.
a
We
3-point
understand.
oriented team. We have a 7'2" guy who shoots threes.
PP
Only
is
guy.
very valuable, but he's hard to trade because You can't trade him for someone good because he only makes
He's
$9
$7.5
million.
million. So
Yeah.
we have a really good player who's very inexpensive in the first thing. So Scotty will praise him, and then he says, "But we should trade him for a big white guy who can't shoot free
And
throws."
you
Okay,
can't
that makes a
trade
lot
him.
of sense.
You
I
can't
just-
make
He's
the
good except he
trade.
can't play in the last 3 minutes of the game, Russ. Okay.
No,
Can't.
look. Pritchard has had an incredible regular season, and he's been fantastic.
Oh,
He's the
here
sixth
we
man
go.
of the
Here
year.
we go.
But again, my point is well taken because he has not proven in the playoffs.
I thought last year's
Johnny,
playoffs he was
Johnny, I'm
fine.
giving you an assignment, okay? Go watch Peyton Pritchard's college highlights tonight, okay, on YouTube.
Okay, but
I think he's getting into the zone now where what he did in college, he's going to start doing in the NBA.
But don't you agree that he has been a standout in the regular season, but this has to carry over to the playoffs?
Well, he's maturing into that spot, his confidence, everything about his game. And he doesn't seem like a guy who shies away from working at his game.
But do you guys think he's played well in the playoffs in his career?
I thought he did last year. The year
He
before,
played pretty
no.
well last year. He wasn't the problem last year in the
There was no
playoffs. He was
problem
fine.
last year, but he didn't
He was
play.
fine. Well, he played fine. I mean, like,
Progressing.
yeah.
He's better this year than he was last year in the regular
I'm
season.
rooting for him. You think I
And
want
he was
Peyton
better
Pritchard to
last
miss-
year than he was the year before the
Well,
regular
no,
season.
you're rooting for him, but you want to trade him for a guy whose name you can't pronounce.
Well, that's not too hard.
Yeah,
Like, I was looking at the text. I'm like,
That's about 90% of the league. I don't know what
I have never
yeah.
heard of this
Just
guy.
met me.
Like, who's this guy they're talking about? What?
Jakob Pertl. He's
I mispronounced at least 90% of these guys' names.
He would have been good in the '60s. Toronto would have been great in
he'd
the
be
60s.
better as a power forward. He's just a center in Toronto because they don't have any length.
Power forward that can't shoot a three, though, Joe. Don't you have to be able to shoot threes in the
It's
league?
just hate.
Well,
It's
wait a
just
minute.
hate all
No,
the time.
no. Cornette and Cater can't shoot threes, and they
Well, that can shoot threes.
Look,
Well, that-
it's going to be very interesting. That obviously the jury is still out on Peyton Pritchard, and we're going to see in the playoffs if he comes through or not. If not,
I don't think the jury is still out. I
Karen,
think
Karen Reed,
the verdict
Karen
is
Reed
he's
jury
doing
here.
well.
That's what it sounds like to me.
The verdict is in.
Sorry, Russ. I touched the sensitive nerve right there. Sorry.
Yeah, I just might need to. I just concerned about having to get a lawyer. That's all.
Yeah, multiple lawyers, I think, at this point. All right, that's our show for tonight. I want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Thursday night at 7 o'clock for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.